Mast Appeal, the Saturday morning live show on Catholic Radio, where you can get some free and friendly advice from a Catholic perspective. This is Coleen Kelly Mast. I'm a certified life coach, a Catholic retreat speaker, an author, a mother, a wife, a cousin, an aunt, a friend, a neighbor, a lot of those same things that you are. Hopefully you're friendly to your neighbors, a member of a parish, but you don't have to be a member of a parish certainly to listen here. This is Catholic Radio that you're listening to in case you were just flipping around the dials. And this show is called Mast Appeal. It's produced by Ave Maria Radio in Michigan and brought to you by the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network all over the world on Sirius Satellite Channel 160, all the wonderful affiliates of EWTN throughout the country, our local Catholic radio stations. Some are online, some are on apps, some you're listening to a actual old radio. But however you're listening, I welcome you to stay tuned here for the next 2 hours for some free, friendly advice from a Catholic perspective. This is Coleen Kelly Mast. As I said, you can learn more about my work at my website, respect4u.com, respect4u.com. I have a master's degree in health education, an honorary doctorate in humane letters, teaching certificates in science, health, theology, and physical education. I've taught school or CCD at every level from pre-K to adult education. And when my public school sex respect curriculum reached national acclaim and controversy, I was a guest on shows like Oprah, Geraldo, 60 Minutes, and Mother Angelica Live. I was invited to the Vatican by Pope John Paul II's Pontifical Council for the Family to come to Rome to present to the Council my Love and Life program, because it had already been a model of church teaching before their document, The Truth and Meaning of Human Sexuality, came out. So throughout my career, I have defended the truth about life and love and lived it myself. I've debated the ACLU. I've debated the president of Planned Parenthood and SICAs. I've been defending the dignity of love and family for decades now. And here I've been on Catholic Radio for 26 years, offering free, friendly advice from a Catholic perspective. But your problem is new. Your problem is unique to you. And some of these problems have changed over the 26 years I've been on Catholic Radio. Some of the problems we have now did not exist 26 years ago when we started. It was a different world back then, a different generation. Like, children did not divorce their parents and say they were taking a break from them because who they voted for politically. I mean, that just never happened. People were more curious about church teachings and kind of open and happy to learn them. You know, we were concerned back then about maybe, school-based clinics and schools giving out contraceptives. Oh my goodness, now they're mutilating children without parents' permission. So yeah, they're problems that are here today that were not here a long time ago. So we've all got to stay updated with the truth of God, which is eternal and applies in all times, all ages, to all people. And that's what we do here, is try to apply the truths of God, what we know to be true, and apply those to our problems of the day. So stay tuned here for some free, friendly advice from a Catholic perspective. If you're facing a personal problem, need a second opinion on a decision you're trying to make, or facing a difficult relationship in your life, or maybe you just need to grow in some virtues, kindness or gentleness, or maybe courage, or, maybe learn how to have better conversations with people you want to get to know better. Or maybe you're trying to overcome a bad habit. Whatever your question might be, give us a call. Call this toll-free number, 877-573-7825, 877-5-PEP-TALK. And you get to talk to Eric, our call screener and engineer. Tell him your first name, the topic of your question, where you're calling from, or the station you're listening to, and then the topic of your question. and he will write it on my board and we'll take you when it's your turn. Again, it's 877-573-7825. Whether your personal problems are in your marriage or friendships or at work or with your parents or your adult children or your little children, trying to get them to do their chores cheerfully or get them hooked off the internet. There are ways to work on all those things. The number is 877-573-7825, 877-5 Pep Talk. And any time of the year, not just Lent or New Year's or when the school year starts, any time of the year is a year to create good habits. In 1 Corinthians verse 10, St. Paul says, as he's training pagans to be Christians, he says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. So if you're going to memorize one verse this week or this month, that might be a good one. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. And I've had conversations with people in my family, I would say, my husband, my kids, just reminding them of that. Like my mom she didn't have us memorize the Bible, but she told us all the time when we were little that we had to live for the glory of God. We had to dress to beautify the world, to edify other people. We had to develop all our talents so that we can make the world a better place. We had to prepare, and we got this in the Catholic school with those nuns, prepare for your last judgment every day, so you won't have a lot of regret. So 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31 says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. Are you doing that? And if not, do you have like God in a little box? You just pay attention to him on Sundays, or maybe you go to daily mass and then you still go back and do all the things that are not glorifying God. Most of you might remember or have read about Anne Frank, and she said that our lives are fashioned by our choices. First we make our choices, then our choices make us. And that has a root in a lot of psychological principles of habits. So how do we build good habits so that all we do is for the glory of God? Well, I'll talk about that first, and then you might have some questions on that or any topic. Don't forget to give us a call. Right now, you can line up 877-573-7825. This is Coleen Kelly Mast on Catholic Radio. The show is called Mast Appeal. 2 hours of free, friendly advice from a Catholic perspective. So let's chat about habits here for a while. Habits are those little choices we make every day. All of us have different habits and behaviors, how we wake up in the morning, how we greet our families, whether we ignore them or we're cranky or they're cranky, or we get up and give them that big 15-second hug 10 times a day. How we greet them, what supplements you take, what you do for breakfast, how soon you have your first drink, if it's coffee or water, whatever your hygiene practices are, whatever your route to work, you probably have a habit for that, or your habit for which streets you take to church or walk over to your friend's house if you have to leave your house, and how we cook our food, like how we keep our houses clean, or where we allow things to be cluttered, like how we connect to our loved ones. So all of our habits and behaviors look different, right? So you say that habits account for 40% of our behavior in a given day, and most habits are automatic. So that's a statistical study of people that studied somebody all day for several days. 40% of our behavior is automatic. And this goes with the brain science, the way God created us. And it can go with our development of virtue. So once you develop a virtue and practice it over and over and over again, you practice that virtue without thinking. You smile at the person that you greet. You think about them rather than thinking about yourself all the time. And so 40% of our behavior is about habits. So how do we develop these good habits? So we don't have to think about doing good. We just do it. Like, you probably don't make a conscious choice to, what would I say, like flush the toilet after you go. Hopefully you flush the toilet after you go. Or you probably clear the table after you finish eating and bring your dishes to the sink. We would hope you have those kind of habits. You probably get dressed in the morning and put on some clothes that are acceptable viewing for outside. Except teenagers, they still, I think, wear their pajama pants to school. But anyway, so you don't make a conscious choice of a lot of things. If you have little kids, you know that flushing the toilet or clearing your plates is not an automatic behavior, but you have to teach it to them. So when we want to develop a good habit or break a habit, like saying bad words or something, it's really important to start to develop an awareness of what we do. So you have to slow down for a couple days, be very aware of everything you touch, everything you see, everything you put in your mouth, everything you're going to say. So awareness is that first step if you want to change some habits. So, for example, if every time you change your clothes, you threw them on the floor or on a bench in your bedroom, when the pile gets really high, you might put the clothes away. So that's a habit of yours, stacking up clothes. Like changing clothes and throwing them on the floor might have become a habit that's so automatic you weren't even aware weren't doing it. Whereas somebody else might have a habit of, as soon as I take this item of clothing off, I hang it up in my closet. So we have different habits. But when you change clothes, you could change your habit, and instead of throwing it on the bed or the table or the dresser, you could throw it down the laundry chute or you could put it away. But you'd have to be conscious of, yeah, I'm really creating a pile there, and don't wait for a whole month till the pile gets so large that it's in your way. And you think, you know what? I need to change this habit. I'm going to be very conscious of it. When I take this item of clothing off, I'm going to decide, is it dirty enough to put in the hamper? Should I hang it on the knob on the back of my door because I'm going to wear it again? Or do I put it back in the closet? So try to be aware of your habit and understand that the science behind the habits and use it to our advantage, because helpful habits can become automated just like your bad habits can be automated. So if we want to direct our behavior toward virtues and toward our good values and transform our intentional behaviors into habits, we won't even have to think about them. So take the time to think about what's important to you. Is, for example, eating well, eating nutritious food. Like throw away the junk, buy good food, and reflect on that value of eating what God made for us. So reflect on your values. If it's keeping an orderly house, is it being kind to the people that I live with in the house? Is it being more attentive to the needs of the people in my home? Is it to break a bad habit of something I say? So maybe sit and think about that today. Write down 4 habits you'd like to build and 4 habits you'd like to stop. Like maybe one of them you'd want to build, like I want to say kind words to my spouse 10 times a day. Well, you got to start by keeping track of yourself till it becomes a habit, and then you do it naturally. Or I want to wake up 10 minutes early and add a wonderful morning meditation on the day's readings to my life. Some people already have that as a habit. Some need to practice that. You put it on your alarm on your phone and you do it. You get up for 90 days till it becomes natural to you. You start loving it because you love God more. That's a habit you could build. Or another one could be like each week, call an old friend or a distant relative. So each week you connect with people that people are only connected, that don't connect them just by sending them a text. I'm like giving them a phone call so they hear a human voice. So think about 4 habits you might want to stop. Like, do you want to stop cussing or stop eating junk food or sugar or overbuying things, or whether you do that on the online or go to just one of the discount stores and, oh, this is cute, I don't have one of these. Yeah, but you have 52 other things that are filling that drawer. So think of things that you've developed over the years. I mean, some people floss their teeth, some drink more water, some write thank you notes. Maybe yours would be watching less TV or engaging in less social media, reading every day. In the Lent, I remember I read 2 Psalms in the Bible every single night. I would not go to bed till I read those 2 Psalms. Well, after Lent, I think about it, but I don't read them. So you want to develop a habit that maybe you can keep, and maybe it's exercise. Maybe you need to move your body for 30 minutes or plan your meals ahead of time every week. So when you want to engage in a new habit, make it pleasurable, make it desirable, Think about the outcome of it. For example, if you want to go to the gym more, think about, instead of thinking like, oh, what are people going to say about me? I've got all these, I have an ugly sweatsuit, or, just think about, what's true about it, what's good about it, how much better you're going to feel after you go to the gym, and sit in the steam room first or the sauna first and make it a pleasurable activity. So you can create new habits for your life. Any ones you want to build, you can make them fun. And for that extra prayer time, you could make that attractive by lighting a candle, or um, putting on your favorite hymns, or taking some time to take some deep breaths and opening your heart to God. Imagine heaven, or have a picture of what you think God might look like in heaven. And as you consider all the habits you want to develop and those you want to stop, think of ways you can make them pleasurable, and how you can stop the things that might make it painful. It might be a mindset. So make good habits obvious and bad habits hard, and create good habits using the science of our brain that God gives us, so that you can become just a little bit, 1% better each day. Give me a call if you need some help with developing better habits, or any topic of concern, whether you want some confidence for your family life, or clarity for your moral life, encouragement for your spiritual life, some prudence for your social life, some knowledge for the everyday applications of life. Give me a call. This is Coleen Kelly Mast on Mast Appeal, a Catholic radio show where you can get free, friendly advice. The number to call now is 877, that makes it toll free, 573 7825, 877-5 Talk, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Looking for a retreat venue for your youth group, sports team, ministry, or staff event? St. Francis Retreat Center in DeWitt sits on a picturesque 95-acre property, complete with 3 large conference rooms, 2 chapels, 2 dining rooms with commercial kitchens, meeting spaces for smaller groups, overnight lodging, and a professional staff to make your event a success. Call 517-669-8321 or visit stfrancis.ws to book your event today.
It's time for Family Man with Dr. Gregory Popchak.
Parents often resort to scolding, coaxing, or even bribing to get our kids to help with household chores. But what if I told you there's a more effective approach? The next time your child does anything helpful, pause to appreciate them. Say something like, "Hey, I noticed you put away your dirty dishes without being asked. Thanks for that. It's really thoughtful and responsible of you." You can even put a cherry on the top of your gratitude with a warm hug, a fist bump, or some other sign of affection. A few words of thanks are much more powerful than a whole paragraph of nagging or criticizing. Over time, you'll notice that these expressions of gratitude not only encourage more helpfulness from your kids, but more gratitude too. Get more great parenting tips at CatholicHOM.com, or check out our books, Parenting Your Kids with Grace, or Parenting Your Teens and Tweens with Grace. I'm Dr. Greg Popchak, but you can call me Family Man.
To discover more ways faith can enrich your life, visit CatholicCounselors.com.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Denha-Garmo. Your kids are grown, and the difficult choice of who will raise them in case of an untimely death has passed. Stop making excuses. Go to mycatholicwill.com. A legal will is short and simple, and thanks to our partnership with mycatholicwill.com, when you use the promo code AVE, A-V-E, your will is absolutely free. No hidden costs whatsoever. Visit mycatholicwill.com.
Good morning and welcome to Mast Appeal, the Saturday morning live show on Catholic Radio, where you can get some free and friendly advice from a Catholic perspective. We're speaking about the one scripture verse about habits, 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31, for those of you that were driving and saying, I couldn't write it down. What was the Bible verse? And I'll get emails later, so I'll tell you again. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31. Memorize it. So whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. And you can make it a post-it note on your bathroom. But the scriptures, the word of God gives us so much advice. And I love some of the wonderful healing readings that we've had recently, the healing gospels. In Matthew chapter 8, verse 1 to 4, I think how many healings are in there? And then another gospel. Yeah, I've been meditating on a lot of healing things. Matthew 8, verses 5 to 17. So Matthew 8 is a place to hear and learn about a lot of healing. And a lot of people need to meditate on Jesus healing them. And the most beautiful way to do that is to go to some of those teachings where we see Jesus healing people. So Matthew 8, in the first 4 lines, are about the healing of the leper. You probably remember that story. When Jesus came down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And then a leper approached and did him homage and said, Lord, if you wish, you can make me clean. So this is faith right there. If you wish, you can make me clean. And I'll say that to God sometimes. I'll say, Lord, you could fix this in a minute. You could heal this, whether it's a physical or emotional or spiritual wound that we're carrying around. We know through our faith that Jesus can heal that immediately. Lord, if you wish, you can make me clean. So the leper stretched out his hand and touched him. Oh no, Jesus stretched out his hand and touched the leper and said, I will do it, be made clean. It was that instantaneous. And his leprosy was cleansed immediately. Then Jesus said to him, see that you tell no one, but go show yourself to the priest and offer the gift that Moses prescribed, and that'll be proof for them. And so he didn't want to do miracles just for people to be impressed, but he wants the people to believe. So when we think of what you want Jesus most to heal in you today or to be cleansed of in terms of leprosy, take this to prayer, take this to meditation. Quite often when people call in, I'll tell them to pray about that or meditate on that longer. And we as Catholics just need to do that more. Some people are very good at Lectio Divina, daily meditations. With all the wonderful prayer apps out there now, you certainly have more options of how to pray, how to meditate, how to practice mental prayer. But mental prayer is private between you and God, so you can be very honest and pour yourself out, like in the Lamentations part of the Old Testament. Just pour yourself out to God. If you need some help in doing that, give me a call. The number to get on today's Mast appeal is 877-573 7825 877-5 Pep Talk. Whether you're a regular listener or a brand new person and have never called before or never heard the show before, give us a call. We'd be happy to hear from you and help you with your personal problem. So now I want to go to the next set of healings. Matthew chapter 8, verse 15 to 17, 5 to 17 has several healings. And these are verses that we can meditate on, whether we need healing from a broken heart, or healing from a physical disease, healing from emotional pain, healing from our own thought process. If we are carrying around a negative thought process all day, cynical, sarcastic, that needs healing too. So in Matthew 8, verse 5 to 17, it's when Jesus entered Capernaum. And remember the centurion, the soldier? You've probably seen this on videos before. The centurion approached him and appealed to Jesus, saying, Lord, my servant is lying at home paralyzed, suffering dreadfully. And he said to him, I will come and cure him. And the centurion, this is where he has the great faith, said in reply, Lord, and this is where we get these words from the Mass, Lord, I am not worthy to have you enter under my roof. Only say the word, and my servant will be healed. And we say at Mass, my soul will be healed. But this is directly from the centurion speaking to Jesus about healing his servant. Lord, I'm not worthy to have you enter under my roof, he said, so only say the word, and my servant will be healed, for I too am a man subject to authority. with soldiers subject to me, and I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come here, and he comes, and to my slave, do this, and he does it. So when Jesus heard that, he was amazed, and he said to those following him, Amen, I say to you, in no one in Israel have I found such faith. I say to you, many will come from the east and the west and will recline with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at the banquet of the kingdom of heaven, but the children of the kingdom will be driven out into the outer darkness where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. That's another one of his admonitions of, okay, some people have faith, some don't. But then Jesus said to the centurion, you may go as you have believed, let it be done for you. And at that very hour, his servant was healed. Then Jesus healed Peter's mother-in-law, that was lying in bed with a fever. And then people started bringing him to cure the sick, to drive out evil spirits. He took away our infirmities. He bore our diseases. He wants to heal us. Give us a call, 877-573-7825. We'll be back in just a moment.
Beacon Skin and Surgeries is a comprehensive dermatology center on the border of Troy and Rochester Hills south of M59 and in Livonia. Beacon Skin and Surgeries perform full skin exams and focus on the diagnosis and treatment of all types of skin cancer and precancerous lesions. All are board-certified dermatologists and fellowship-trained surgeons. Call 248-852-1900. Beacon Skin and Surgeries, a beacon for patient care. 248-852-1900.
Maybe you've been hearing a lot about the need to make a spiritual communion while participating from home in a live-streamed or broadcast Mass. Maybe you've even prayed the prayer of spiritual communion. Spiritual communion is a concept that goes all the way back to the 4th century. It flourished in the Eastern Church and gradually moved west. Spiritual communion stresses the transcendence of God, where we unite our desires, intentions, and loves with the holy sacrifice of the Mass and the consecration of the Eucharist at the altar. Jesus, I embrace you and unite myself wholly to you.
Strained or broken relationships are a given in most of our lives. Friends fall away, siblings drift apart, children sever ties with their parents, and despite our best efforts, these painful fissures are difficult to mend. Hi, I'm Dr. Ray. If you want to learn how to communicate better with the difficult people in your life and be a more easygoing, more forgiving person, check out my book, How to Get Along with Almost Everybody. Check it out, and all my other books on the store page at AveMariaRadio.net. That's AveMariaRadio.net.
This program is brought to you by the following nonprofit underwriter.
Are you longing to hear God's voice? Lord, Teach Me to Pray, the free Ignatian Prayer Series will open your heart to His voice, to the peace you are seeking, and the only love that fulfills the human heart, Jesus. God is calling you to true joy, knowing Jesus personally. Lord, Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com, click on the red box, order the Lord, Teach Me to Pray series now. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com.
Good morning and welcome to Mast Appeal, the Saturday morning live show on Catholic Radio, where you could get some free and friendly advice from a Catholic perspective by listening or calling this toll-free number. The number to get on today's show, and there are lines open waiting to hear from you at 877-573-7825, 877-5 Talk. Maybe you need some tips on being kind to the people who irritate you, or speaking up for the truth in conversations or in your social media platforms. Or maybe you need some help with your prayer life or your marriage or your parenting, those kids' chores, their responsibility, their homework. Stop enabling them, empower them instead. Or maybe your relationships at work or at school. Maybe you just need to change jobs. Maybe you need to move to another city and make a bunch of new friends to develop some new habits and change your life. But you can do it right where you are with a new mindset and with the grace of God. Maybe you have some questions on dating, or you just need more peace inside, or have to set some strong boundaries to keep you happy and healthy. give me a call. This is Coleen Kelly Mast. This show is called Mast Appeal. Give us a call at 877 573 7825. 877 5 Pep Talk. And you can improve your life. When we talked about habits a little bit, so think about how you can improve your life by 1%. And we can make a plan for that. Actually, we should make a plan. Or how can you strengthen your faith by 1%? If you did 1% a day for the next 365 days, how can you improve your marriage by 1%? Some of you are in a marriage that's boring right now. Ho, ho, hum. How can you improve your marriage by 1%? We should keep working on it with that grace of the sacrament of matrimony. How can you improve your relationships with your children by 1%? I know some of you are rejected by your children. This is a sad state of affairs in this culture, but how can you improve your relationships with your children by 1% each day? Or how can you improve your health by 1% each day? How can you increase your joy by 1% each day? Just little steps, new habits. Give us a call, 877 573 7825. 877 5 Pep Talk. Joy from Akron, Ohio called. Is she ready? I don't see the ready sign, but I think she's been on there a while. Joy? Okay, Joy from Akron, you're on the air now. What's your question today?
Hi, Colleen. I'm calling because you're talking about habits.
Mm-hmm.
And it really struck a chord with me as far as eating habits. And I have a good amount of weight to lose. I'm thinking about those GLP-1s that are out there and wondering if you have opinion one way or the other. Is it better to just do it yourself and try to bite the bullet as I've done for many, many years, or go ahead and try those GLP-1s? I'm really torn.
Wow. I'm not that familiar with GLP-1, but what I do understand of it is that it is a hormone that helps your hunger. Is that what it's supposed to do? Okay, so if your problem is your hunger and you take a medicine like GLP-1 that diminishes your hunger for a certain amount of time, you're going to be hungry when it's over, right? And you're going to put the weight back on. So I'm just thinking logically through it out loud as you called. So when you think about that, what you want to do, we're speaking about changing habits. One you want to do, Joy, whenever you're trying to lose weight, and it's a struggle for many, many people today, just because there are so many factors involved: food cravings, parasites, hormone imbalances, chemicals, microplastics. I mean, the food we eat is not nourishing us. I mean, there are so many factors, but address as many of them as you can. If, for example, you do have some microscopic parasite in your gut that's hungry and taking away your nutrition, or you've got some hormone imbalance, and where the hormones like the xenoestrogens from our environmental toxins and pesticides and fertilizers are attaching to your estrogen receptor sites, and so you don't have a balance of regular hormones that your hormones aren't working properly, you're still going to have a hormone imbalance and be hungry. If you have a blood sugar imbalance and you haven't gone to your doctor and found out how your blood sugar is doing, your blood sugar levels are going to affect your desire for food. You're going to crave food because you need it. And if you're eating junk food, for example, your body's saying, no, I know you love Doritos, but I just want, a hamburger and a salad, please, so you have to nourish yourself. So what would probably be most helpful is finding out what is the underlying cause. And a lot of times you can find a naturopathic doctor that can test in different ways. One of the tests I like to take is called a Zytoscan. It's just a computerized, you put your hand on a hand cradle and it sends all these waves through your body, just not as fancy as the hospital like MRIs or CAT scans, but still or ultrasounds, but it does measure different things in your body, and it can tell you where you might be off. And you can find a doctor. Maybe they will do muscle testing, which is the biofeedback of the lie detector test that's built in your body and your subconscious mind, and ask them, what are those things? Or maybe you know yourself. You could pray and say, Lord, show me what it is. Should I substitute everything that has any junk or chemicals with only natural foods for 3 weeks and see if my food cravings go down? You could try it that way. And that would be probably the simplest and cheapest way to do it, is throw away, even though you spent $4 on that wonderful box of crackers, only eat what God made. He made animals, he made plants, he made nuts, he made seeds, he made fruits. Just eat what God made in moderation, and see if your hunger habits, your desire for food, go down. Another tip that people are using today is to eat more protein earlier in the day. Like, how many years they told us not to eat eggs, and they're like, oh yeah, now eggs are good. We changed our mind. No butter for decades. Oh yeah, now butter's good. Now margarine's bad. So if you go back to what God made in the first place, because everything was perfect in the Garden of Eden, and you could, pick the sunflower and eat the sunflower seeds, and they had those nutrients for you. So probably the first thing would be to eat as cleanly as you can, organic if you can, so we don't have the pesticides and fertilizers on them. Try that for a month and see if your food cravings go down. So that might be the first thing, rather than chemically changing it for a month, spending a lot of money on it, and then you're going to be the same hunger again. Because if you try eating just how God created food, it might help balance your hormones. You know what I mean? Yeah. That if you start healing in that, and then trust your instinct, like pray about that. Lord, do you want me really to eat this? I have a girlfriend who prays before she puts anything in her mouth. Even if we're, passing around cut apples at Bible study or something, she will stop, make the sign of the cross, and pray before putting an apple in her mouth. I respect that and admire that so much. So ask God, do you want me to eat this? Did you make this for me? Is this going to nourish me? And so I would try that first before I would try the medicine, because then you might have a longer term change rather than just let the medicine change you. See what you think about that, Joy. Let us know in a month. How's it going? I want to hear about it. Okay, you're welcome. God bless you. We'll be back with more of Mast Appeal, 877-5-PEP-TALK.
Pre-planning your cemetery arrangements is the most loving gift you can give to your family. Resurrection Cemetery in Clinton Township is one of the largest Catholic cemeteries in Michigan, offering many burial, crypt, and cremation options. Featuring incredible Catholic artwork throughout, Resurrection Cemetery's beautifully maintained grounds are second to none. Our compassionate staff makes pre-planning simple. Call 586-412-6244 or visit mtelliott.com/resurrection today.
So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Nothing illustrates the powerful bond between man and wife intended by God, the creator of marriage, than these words from Matthew's Gospel. A true marriage is a sacramental bond and is therefore indissoluble. The Catholic Catechism, however, realistically acknowledges that the presence of evil can severely strain this bond. Marital union has always been threatened by discord, a spirit of domination, jealousy, infidelity, and conflicts that can escalate into hatred and separation. The original communion of Adam and Eve was ruptured by their sin of disobedience. Their relations were distorted by mutual recrimination, says the Catechism, and brought about the pain of childbirth and the toil of work. Without God's help, a man and woman cannot achieve the union of their lives for which God created them in the beginning. This is Peggy Stanton, and this has been the Order of Malta's Minute with the Catechism.
Catholic Charities of Shiawassee and Genesee counties have been providing help and creating hope since 1941. It's the generosity of donors that allows them to provide necessary services such as their warming center, which provides refuge and comfort to thousands in our community. They also offer hot meals in their soup kitchens and help families make ends meet in their community closet. Even the smallest donation makes a meaningful difference. Join us in their mission by giving a donation at CatholicCharitiesFlint.org.
welcome to Mast Appeal, the Saturday morning live show on Catholic Radio, where you can get some free and friendly advice from a Catholic perspective. The number to get on today's show is 877-573-7825, 877-5-PEP-TALK. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there. We could do a whole show just on weight loss and all the factors that go in it. And I know that some of my life coaching clients, besides what they need coaching in, usually have a desire to change their eating habits as well. And I just pulled up this chart that I was using with one of the guys that I coach. Is called Food Craving, stepintomyworld.com. And there's a chart off of this stepintomygreenworld.com. You're craving what you need and what to eat instead. So if you crave chocolate, you probably need magnesium. And instead, you could eat nuts, seeds, veggies, and fruits. Well, I don't do that. I make my own chocolates. I make my own chocolates that are sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, with just coconut oil, raw cacao powder, and monk fruit. Sometimes I'll add a little peppermint oil, make peppermints, and I have to keep them in the freezer because coconut oil will melt at room temperature. You could keep them in the fridge too, or I'll cover chocolate blueberries with those. So a year and a half ago, I gave out a bunch of these recipes at Christmas time of all my gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free salad dressings, candies, and things. So if you're craving chocolate, this chart says you need magnesium and you can eat nuts, seeds, veggies, and fruits, but I just make my own chocolates. Okay, if you're craving sugary foods, what you need, this chart says chromium, carbon, phosphorus, sulfur, or tryptophan. Now, I learned that I have deficiencies in a couple of those. Again, I actually bought one of those little machines and do the electronic test on myself so I can see what things I'm deficient in. But so sugary foods, if you crave those, you could be deficient in chromium, carbon, phosphorus, sulfur, or tryptophan. And then what you would eat instead is broccoli, grapes, cheese, or chicken, or fresh fruits. If you're craving sugar, you probably haven't eaten enough fruit. That could be one. And if you're trying to lose weight, eat the lower carb fruits. But if you're craving sugary foods and if you need phosphorus, you need to eat more meat, chicken, beef, fatty fish, eggs, dairy, nuts, even veggies and grains that have more protein in them. If you are craving sugary foods and you need sulfur, you can get that in horseradish, cabbage, cauliflower, cranberries. And if you're short tryptophan, you need some more cheese, raisins, sweet potatoes, or spinach. Then if you're craving bread, pasta, and other carbs, this chart says you need nitrogen. So you eat more high protein foods, meat, fatty fish, nuts, beans, and chia seeds. And if you are craving oily foods, you might be short in calcium. So drink organic milk, cheese, or green leafy vegetables. And the chart says if you're craving salty foods, you might be short chloride or silicon. So eat fatty fish, goat milk, cashews, nuts, and seeds. So that was from Coaching and Weight Management in stepintomygreenworld.com if you want to go find it somewhere. So see if that helps. All right, we've got another caller here on the line. It's time for you to call too. You can line up for the rest of this hour or you can line up for next hour. The number to get on today's Mast Appeal with your question or personal problem is 877-573-7825, 877-5-PEP-TALK. Our next caller is Kathy from Mississippi. Welcome to the show, Kathy. You're on the air now. How can I help you, Kathy? Hello, Kathy from Mississippi?
Yes.
Oh, what's your question today, Kathy? Hi.
I just want to kind of elaborate on faith. I heard the message a little bit earlier about faith and about people can be healed.
Right.
What about the person who has been praying for healing all their life and they're still not healed and they feel intimidated by people who are Christians that tell you all you have to do is have faith the size of a mustard seed or you just need to have faith. You need to do this, you need to do that, but you're seeing a doctor and you have chronic health conditions that simple solutions, faith is not a simple solution. faith is pushing through, even though you don't even really want to keep pushing.
You're right.
And then, to me, I feel I really don't. I'm not a Catholic. I'm a Christian, but I've been brought up in different denominations. I've been to Pentecostal church. I've been to Baptist church. I've been to Church of Christ. I've been to just different denominations. And I feel that sometimes a person that has asked God to heal them and it's facing a lot each day can feel overwhelmed by someone that is a Christian that tells them all they have to do is have faith and they have to do this and they have to do that. When in reality, from the fall in the garden, man has been, suffering since the beginning of time. And God doesn't instantly heal people unless he wants to, or I don't even understand why he heals some people, and some people, they just have to keep pushing through. And most people aren't genuine. I'm not judging people, but for the most part, people aren't going to be really honest about how they feel because they don't want people to judge them and they don't want stigma. And I think some of the people with the worst problems are the ones who hide their conditions. And I think, I guess I'm just going to stop at that.
Okay. Do you mean hide their, just are quiet about it like a saint, or just, what do you mean hide their conditions? Or don't do anything about them?
I think some people are real good at pretending.
Oh, pretending. Okay, that's what I thought you meant.
Pretending,
right.
It's just like, even a Christian home, a lot of people, they can even talk about faith and how you can be healed. I don't know how to describe it. But
okay, but I think I know what you mean. Some people are pretending that everything's okay because they're a Christian, and that is not the reality we face due to the fall of man. So I can address that, Kathy, and thanks for your call, because that is a very important and deep question. When we look at the reality of humankind due to original sin, we know there will be suffering, there will be sickness, there will be death, there will be sin due to original sin, that nothing is perfect. But Jesus did come, and in the scriptures that I was reading in Matthew chapter 8, he did come to heal. But as you said very appropriately, he doesn't heal everybody from everything. And so how do we keep faith? As you told the call screener, if you have a medical condition and you're struggling with your faith, and faith is low, if people are telling you, oh, if you have faith, you'll be healed. Well, Jesus did say that in the Bible, but literally he can be healing us in other ways. And no one should ever feel bad or a failure for not being healed. It doesn't mean you don't have enough faith. It means that original sin exists. Like, people die of diseases. People have chronic pain. People are sick. Some of it's under our control. Some of it is not. Some of it is even environmental problems. So here's a tip, Kathy. When I am praying for something that is not being answered, or not answered the way that I would like it answered. And if you're a new listener, you might not know that, if I can say this without crying, my oldest son, when he was 29 years old, and his first baby was sitting on the couch with his wife, he took a nap because he was tired, and he had a massive heart attack and died instantly. And I couldn't make sense of that. I'd go to my spiritual director like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? So I couldn't blame God. Some people blame God when they have a child die, and I know it wrecks a lot of marriages and a lot of people's faith, but you can't blame God for that, because my husband's family carries, they inherit that. He had a cousin and aunt die at that age, just massive heart attack instantly, aneurysm in his aorta. Like you don't know what people inherited. But what questions I ask God now when he surprises me with something I don't like, I'll say this, Kathy. I'll say, Lord, what do you want me to learn from this? What can you heal in me? Did you want to heal my mind? Did you want to heal my heart? Did you want to heal my soul? Did you want to heal my imagination? Did you want to heal my will? Lord, what do you want of me? So you can't always pretend it's okay. Sometimes you do have to just put it away for a while. But the whole book of Lamentations in the Old Testament is about us complaining to God. And so reading the book of Lamentations about complaining to God, pour your heart out to him, and then look at Matthew 8 and say, Lord, I see you've healed many people of many things. What do you want to heal in me? My mind, my heart, my soul, my imagination? Or do you want me to just draw closer to you like the saints? Kathy, this is such a good question, and I just see we're up against break. So hang on a minute. We're going to go to our break, and I'll come back and finish with you right after this message.
This year, Guest House is celebrating its 70th anniversary. Opening their doors in May in 1956 in Lake Orion, Michigan, Guest House is the world's most successful treatment center designed exclusively for the ordained and consecrated, including those in formation. For 70 years, they've been a beacon of hope and healing for more than 8,000 guests seeking lasting recovery from addiction and other behavioral health conditions. Support their mission today at guesthouse.org. That's guesthouse.org.
Food for the Journey's Sister Ann Shields.
The Lord, in His Word through the church, offers us some really good food. But it has to do with a topic that we're not always very keen on hearing, and that is the willingness to suffer for the name of Jesus Christ, the willingness to suffer that others might know Him. Suffering is a difficult word for all of us. It's hard. It doesn't come easily. We don't say, I so want to suffer. We don't most of the time. But when we love deeply, we're willing to suffer for those we love. And that's why I keep speaking to you about the love of God. Love that God wants to pour into your heart so that you can love Him in return. That you will love Him with His love by the power of the Spirit. And that love works through us when we're docile to the Holy Spirit. That's what gives us the grace and the power to be willing to suffer so that others might know that. Now, I'm not there yet. I have my eyes too much on the circumstances and not enough on God. But all of us can keep moving in that direction. But if we can turn to the Lord in every circumstance, I think we'll be amazed at what God provides.
Food for the Journey with Sister Ann Shields can be now heard on the audio archives page at AveMariaRadio.net.
Good morning and welcome to Mast Appeal, the Saturday morning live show on Catholic Radio, where you can get some free and friendly advice from a Catholic perspective. The number to get on today's show now and for the next hour, you can call now and line up for the next hour, is 877-573 7825 877-5 Pep Talk. We're chatting here with Kathy. Has a really big, important question on faith and suffering. And people say, oh yeah, if you have faith, you'll be healed. Even Jesus said that. But when we look at the reality of life, there are many more lessons to learn. And I know that you said, Kathy, that you are a Christian, which is wonderful. And many Christians also look to the Catholic saints who teach us lessons. And many people who have become saints, which means they've been acknowledged as they have led a holy life that we investigated and we saw they loved God with everything they had. And there are a lot of saints that suffered and drew closer to God because of it. So He doesn't heal everybody. So when we get mad, like, oh, God said no to my prayer. Why doesn't He answer my prayer? Why won't God bless me? You know, we might ask that in our anger or disappointment. But when we look to align our will with God's will, like I said, like, Lord, what do you want me to learn? If this is what you want for me, give me the comfort you promised. So, for example, Saint Maximilian Kolbe, is known best for giving up his life in place of a married father in the Auschwitz concentration camp. But he had had years of physical suffering from chronic tuberculosis before then. But that drew him so close to Christ that he was willing to give up his life for somebody else. Another popular saint, Saint Ignatius of Loyola, he was a troublemaker. He was known for his fighting spirit. He was injured in battle when he was 20 years old, hit by a cannonball, and it fractured his right leg. And he had to go through all these surgeries. And there was one leg was shorter than the other. He had to limp forever, and they couldn't fix his problem. But God had bigger plans, because while he was recovering from the surgery, he underwent a spiritual conversion and discerned this call to the religious life that started the Jesuits and brought us the 30-day spiritual exercise retreats. So if you are suffering, and anybody out there that's suffering, what can you do to align your will with God's will? Like, Lord, it would be my will that I would like you to heal me. I want to be out of this pain. But what Jesus said in the garden, not my will, but your will be done. So that our primary goal of prayer and our faith is deepening our relationship with God and trusting in his superior wisdom. Maybe he's going to deny our request, or maybe not even answer, but we still will grow from persevering in prayer. Like if you are, there's a cartoon I remember of God asking someone to push this rock, and the guy was pushing the rock every day. Every day he'd had to push the rock for so many minutes or so many hours, and the rock never moved. And he said, Lord, you had me push this rock every day and it never moved. And he says, but look how much stronger you are now from pushing that rock every day for how many hours. So we get stronger and we get closer to God as we persevere in prayer. Another thing that you might glean from us Catholics is that we're encouraged to unite our personal suffering or disappointments with the sufferings of Jesus Christ. So we turn our hardship into a spiritual offering. So we say, Jesus, you died on the cross for our sins, and you want me to be like you? I'm sorry I have to be like you in this suffering, but I unite my suffering to yours so that we can suffer together. I unite my suffering to the suffering you had that offered up a sacrifice for all sinners to bring us into heaven. And you can offer that sacrifice with Jesus for someone that you know needs extra grace. So I hope those ideas help you, Kathy. God bless you, and thank you for the call.